Says the Mesilat Yesharim, we're up to now talking about forbidden relationships in Kiyut, being clean in regards to immorality, which was also one of the things Mina Hamudim. We said that most people desire theft and desire immorality. This is the next level after theft. As Chazal tell us that most people stumble in Gezer, and minority in regards to immorality. So therefore, he says that the Torah tells us not just to stay away from immorality itself, the act itself. It says, Lo tikrevu legalot erva. Don't even come close to uncover erva. So you see that we cannot even approach, we cannot even become close to doing these things. As the sages tell us in the Midrash, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Al Tomar, do not say, Hoil ve'asur lishtamesh be'isha, since I'm forbidden to have relations with the woman, I will hold her, I won't have guilty of sin. I'll hug her, I won't be guilty of sin. I'll kiss her, I'll have no sin. Right? It's not like I slept with her. I didn't do any actual intimacy. And therefore it says the Torah, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Keshem shim nadar nazir lo lishtot yain. Just like a person who was a Nazir, he made a decree, took upon himself a vow to grow out his hair, not to touch wine. He needs not allowed to even drink fresh grapes or raisins or things that the raisins or the grapes were seeped into. They were made like a drink out of it. You can't even, like a Nazir, you can't touch anything with grapes. So to you cannot touch anything with a person who's not your wife. You can't touch her at all. Whoever touches a woman that's not his wife, he brings that upon himself. So therefore a person has to know that involves things that are not actual just intimacy. It involves even acts that are lead to intimacy, hugging, kissing, all these things. People go to parties, they give handshakes, they're not related, or they're related, but they're not allowed to touch. It's not his mother, it's not his daughter, it's some cousin, some aunt, or whatever. He gives a hug and kiss. It's not permitted. So therefore a person has to make sure to be clean from this sin. And the sages are telling us protective fences that the rabbis of the Torah made, and they're for a good reason, and a person should uphold them and should not be lenient with these things. As the sages tell us, anything related to immorality, anything close to it, whether with any sense that you have, for example, whether with action, with sight, whether with speech, with hearing, all these things, even thoughts of immorality, we also know is a sin. Therefore, he said that the Mesilat Yesharim says we have to make sure that we avoid maaseh, which is hugging, touching, that we spoke about before. Riyah, as the sages tell us, Yad leyad lo yinakeh ra, the pasuk says in Mishlei. From hand to hand, he'll not be spared from evil. What is this referring to? Kol hameratzeh ma'od miyado leyada kedei listakel ba. Whoever counts money from his hand to the hand of a woman in order to gaze at her, he goes and he goes to her, and he doesn't really need to speak to her. He doesn't really need, but he goes, he asks her, do you have change? And he goes, he's asking her just what, so he can stare at her. He can be close to her and stare at her. It says, also there will be judgment on this, or this, that you looked at her inappropriately. And we know, the sages tell us in the Masechet Brachot, that the wise had counted the why does the Torah count the jewelry they took from Midian when they conquered Midian? It says they took the ring and the bracelet and the earring and the necklace and the kumaz. What's kumaz? Kumaz is the jewelry they used to put boto makom. There's the jewelry they used to put in their private part. So you see that what? The Torah asks, why do you have to tell me all the jewelry they had that they took? To teach you that just like a person who looks at the pinky finger of a woman in order to derive pleasure, which is where people usually wear wings on, it's the same thing as looking in the place where the kumaz is. It's the same thing looking at a woman's private part. When you're looking at a woman to get pleasure from, to gaze at her for pleasure, even if you look at her finger, you look at her nails, it's the same thing as you look at the private. Why? Because just like that is a sword, that's also a sword. So therefore a person should be careful not to fall in the sin of looking at women. And we know the sage tells us Shabbat, what is the reason why the Jews of the generation who led the war against the Midianim, they need atonement? Because because their eyes were staring at the woman during the conquest of Midian. We know that the Bilam, he sent the Moabite woman to go and make the men sin over there. So therefore, this resulted in a plague. A lot of people died. Why? Because of their eyes. So the pasuk says, you should be aware of any evil thing. The person cannot gaze even at a beautiful woman if she's unmarried, and even at a married woman, even if she's unattractive. You're not allowed to stare at them, because that's considered sinning with the eyes. So therefore you see, we're going to speak about hearing and speech, all these things, but there's many different levels in morality that we have to guard ourselves from, especially we go to the weddings, especially we go to all these places where you could be not just late, not just appropriate over there. A person has to guard himself, guard his neshama from all the morality. With Zat Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu will bless us.